The next wave of business leaders won't just use AI, they'll master momentum with it, starting now. Welcome to the Mastering AI Momentum Show, where visionary founders and driven business leaders turn artificial intelligence, automation, and scalable systems into real growth, real scale, and real freedom. If you're ready to break bottlenecks, reclaim your title, and scale smarter, this is your playbook. Let's dive in. Here are your hosts, Allie Porter and Elise Smith.
Welcome back to the Mastering AI Momentum Show, where we explore how visionary founders are scaling smarter through systems, leadership, and AI innovation. I'm Elise Smith, your AI business strategist with Millionaire Momentum AI Agency, where we help founders build freedom into their business by using AI systems that create consistency, control, and scalability. And today, I'm joined by an incredible guest. His name is Pepe del Rio. So welcome, Pepe.
Thank you very much, Elise, for having me. Super excited to be here with you today.
Absolutely. Now, he is an entrepreneur, investor, and founder of Sesh AI, a platform empowering artists and their teams to build thriving fan communities with data-driven insights and automation. From private equity investor to tech founder, Pepe's mission is to transform how creators engage with fans and run their business using the power of AI, which, of course, is totally my love language of AI. So I'm so excited that you're here with us. So first off, let's kind of get to know you a little bit. Where are you calling in from today?
Yes, well, actually right now I'm in Miami, but I'm in a work trip right now, but normally based in between Los Angeles and Madrid. As you just said, we started building SES a couple of years ago, I think three and a half, something like that. And our mission is what you've just said. Like, we're trying to, through the technology, give artists and their teams the tools for them to be able to manage, build, and properly monetize their fan bases so they can gain what we call creative independence through their business.
Wow, that is so awesome. So kind of give us like a summary of, if someone's listening to this and they know that they need your services, what kind of pain points would they be having to be able to reach out to you?
Okay, so basically the problem that we're trying to solve right now is when you go to any type of industry, it doesn't matter if you're selling shoes, servers, AI agents, or whatever you're selling, you try to know who your clients are, like gather the data, what they want, and how can you best, or like what is the most efficient way for you to engage with them directly. The problem with the music industry is that it's surprising that artists are the ones who rely the most on their fan bases. Their fan bases are the ones who stream their music, buy their tickets, their merch. But artists normally do not know who their fans are, their name, their real-time location, how to contact them, how to engage with them, what do they want. So you're building a product without knowing actually what your clients want, right? So what we're doing is basically giving them tools for them to be able to capture and gather the more fan data possible, the better. So they're capable of understanding what their fan base really wants and the best way to engage with them directly. And right now, to be super honest, like we, as we were super young startup, like we started to grow a lot like a year and a half ago. So we're still like on that phase where it's more like word of mouth, or like partners that we already work with, they tend to onboard more and more artists. And now we're starting to explore like ways of how can we scale that up. So any artist that really wants to get this problem solved for them, to start collaborating and working with us, basically.
I love it. That is so cool. And when I first saw the platform that you guys created, I thought that is genius because I could imagine, I mean, I'm not an artist by any stretch of the means, but I could imagine that any artist really has a hard time connecting with their audience. I mean, there's social media and things like that, but I love how you guys take it to a whole new level, especially with AI. So thank you for sharing that a little bit. Make sure you guys go and check out joinsesh.ai, and we'll show that a little bit later on in the show as well. But today we are diving into what it really looks like to lead at the intersection of AI, creativity, and business, and why Pepe believes the future belongs to small, smart teams that know how to leverage technology for massive impact. So, as we're jumping into this, Pepe, you started in private equity, which is a world of spreadsheets and scale, and somehow found your way into more of this creative kind of world, which is the music industry. So, what inspired that shift from like investor to innovator?
Mm, Honestly, I wouldn't. I never thought I was gonna do this change. Like, to be completely honest, it was more a matter of needed. When we started SES, I wasn't full time committed to SES. I was an investor myself. What I did is, hey, I think this is basically a little bit of context. I'm an artist, or I used to be an artist, obviously not a very good one. And the one who used to be my manager is the one who called me one day with this problem. And I was like, hey, that should be super easy. And I called one of my best friends, that is right now my co-founder, Inigo Bunzel, that he comes from startups, building product and solving these kind of problems. And I called him and I was like, hey, dude, I think there's something that could be very interesting here. Why don't you give it a try? And I'll try to finance the first round of capital. And that's how it started. So I was an investor, and my co-founder now, Bunzel, was the entrepreneur. And then like 6 months later, we just start getting some traction and talking with some players from the music industry, and that's how things basically forced me to jump in full time to this project that so far has been an amazing journey for me.
I love that. That is so awesome. And especially because all innovation starts with a problem that you're trying to solve, right? Like, I kind of have a little claim to fame that my great, I don't know how far back, grandfather built the tube for the TV. So he's Philo T. Farnsworth. And so I feel like innovation has just always been in the blood of my family. But we've been talking about that as a family of innovation comes from a problem that you're solving. And so I like that you used your own experience and your own background and knew the problem that you were solving to become an innovator. So I love that. So,
I fully agree with that, actually, what you've just mentioned, because like in our case, it was more like, okay, there is this need that at the beginning was friends of mine. I mean, those artists were like super small, emerging, independent artists that were trying to make a living out of that. That like literally 3 out of the 7 that we started testing with were close friend of mine that really needed help. And at the beginning, we didn't knew how we were gonna solve it. We just knew that through technology there was a lot of ways where we could actually bring value and try to help them like solve that issue. And like what you've mentioned before, AI wasn't what it is right now when we started doing this. And actually says we haven't always used AI in terms of like selling our product. AI makes sense because right now it's what you said before, like if you try to analyze what 100,000 people really want, and you need to do it one by one, even though I show you like super nice pretty charts, there's no way you're gonna do it right. But what AI enables us is actually that kind of work that can be done on the background and on autonomous way for you. That's the key or the beauty of it. And actually it's funny of what you mentioned before, because I remember at the beginning we one of the mistakes we made was to grow the headcount of our team like way too soon and way too much. There was a point where we were 48 members on the team, and for sure with not with the traction that we should have, but by that time, and that almost killed us at the beginning. And I remember when we started iterating the product that we had, and we offered the artists this first version of their what we call their fan community companion, that is basically just with all the data that we gather, we analyze that with AI and give them a recommendation, and we automate different smart actions for them. Super simple, but that was like the first MVP that we did on that pivot that we did like a year and a half ago. And I remember I started seeing like teams of artists that normally had 2, 3, 4, 5 people just to run. Obviously, we're big artists, but just to run all these kind of operations around an artist. And suddenly, what we saw is this is something that the artist could do by itself with just like monitoring this specific fan community companion or his manager or one member of his team. And we're like, okay, we've just enabled the artist to actually make way more money, not by the value that that fan community is bringing to him, but also by just optimizing their cost structure. And we started to look at ourselves like, okay, we have like many different ways where we can optimize this. Why do we have X amount of people or X amount of resources dedicated to something that could we do it like on an automated way, right? And we start implemented all those changes like a year ago, and right now we are, I think, full time on the team. It's 18 people, like what we call sesmates, and that's our vision, like being as lean as the less number of people that we have on the team, the better, because at the end of the day, that allows us like to be fully aligned with the vision. It's super easy to say, like, for example, we have a daily meeting of 15 minutes every day, and with that daily meeting, we just monitor, hey, is there any stopper or not, any product feedback that we need to take into account that is coming from the artists, their teams, or the partners we're working with? Yes, no, and we move forward. And we have literally everyone is super aligned with what we're doing and have full context of what's going on. Like we always said the same, that it's funny because it happens a lot that when you go out on vacations, like for example for 3, 5, 6 days, and you come back, we always record everything so you can have the full onboarding again, because a lot of things has changed. Like we're seeing way too many things moving so fast that everything is changing way too fast.
Yeah, and it's hard to keep track of it. I mean, I think you went from 48 people to 18 people. Are my numbers right there?
Yes, correct.
That's amazing. And, I think there's two different sides to look at this, right? Like some people are looking at that as, that you let go of people and they lost their jobs and that type of thing. But from a business standpoint, it is really good to run lean, especially because then you're empowering the end user so that they can do more. I mean, what kind of impact does that make for your user to be able to be more empowered with AI compared to working with all these different people?
I completely agree on that. At the end of the day, it's giving them the capabilities, because we tend to see, yeah, that specific case of a huge artist that is generating millions and millions of dollars a year, that has a huge team and is capable of doing it on a manual basis, but he just recruits team to do so. In that case, you're reducing like job positions, for saying like that. But when you take a look out to the vast majority of artists, those hundreds of thousands of artists that are actually doesn't even are able to make a living out of their art, their music, for those artists is game changer. They don't have the resources even if they want it, and even if they consider that this is important enough, they right now don't have the resources to hire those people to be able to execute these kind of actions. So being able to have like another colleague or builder companion with you that is helping actually with things that you don't know how to handle and that can handle it for you, it's very meaningful for them.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm sure that those people found great jobs somewhere else, and that's just the way that it was meant to be for them. And so I think sometimes, there's like this coldness of AI, and there's this heart of hiring people or, making sure that you keep your team, but it really is a balancing act. I mean, I can tell how much you appreciate those 18 members that you have on your team right now. And I bet every single one of them is feeling a lot more purpose than what they maybe had before, because they're juggling things that they don't need to juggle. Would you say you'd agree with that?
I fully agree. What we've seen, like for example, with every team member that has need to go out, says they're like family to us. At some point, they've been part of building SES on their earliest days or latest days, but they've been part of that process and that project, and we still have a great relationship with all of them. Obviously, we've helped all the members that we've can to find new jobs before we had to let them go at the beginning. But when you have this honest conversation afterwards, obviously on that moment it's tough, because it's like a new challenge for that specific individual that, okay, I was super happy here, now I need to find myself another job or another situation or context. So at that moment it's really tough, but when you have those kind of conversations afterwards, it's just part of the part of the project. You've been a key pilot for some parts, but now it's time to keep evolving. And company wise is what you've mentioned, like probably like 5, 6, 7 years ago, you should have had raised a lot of money in order to be able to build what we're building right now. And what we're seeing is our mindset has completely changed, even through the life of this project that is like super. I mean, we're 3 years and a half old, so we're super young. Uh, but if you ask myself like 2 years ago, a year and a half ago, I will be like, okay, the next milestone is X, Y, or Z. So we will raise X amount of capital so we can keep growing and growing and growing. For example, something that has disrupted us like completely is what I'm trying right now is to reach profitability. What I've seen is that I'm capable of reaching profitability, and that more capital is not going to enable me to grow faster. In our
Mm.
cases, in other cases, it obviously you need capital to keep growing and growing and growing. But in our case, the main necessity that we had was to keep building the product and keep improving and scaling through the communities that we had. What we've seen right now is because of the value that we're able to bring, we are able to charge money for it, and because of how we've implemented AI in-house, we have a super lean structure, so we're not burning like crazy amount of money every month, and that enables us to reach profitability and probably being able to build a sustainable business in the next 6 to 7 months from now.
Yeah, absolutely. And you're able to help more people at probably a better price point. So I love being able to talk about the benefits of AI. I mean, it's fun and it's awesome to like play around with and that kind of thing. But when you can really implement it into your business, there's some real impact that you can have. So you've talked about how you're utilizing AI within the platform itself. But are there any other ways that you're utilizing AI in your business that you feel like has really made an impact on you or your team or the results you've been able to get?
I mean, we're trying to implement AI across every type of work that we do. Everything that is manual, we're trying to automate it. And something, for example, that they just announced at the release yesterday of these agentic new systems within ChatGPT. That, to be honest, I haven't take it a look yet. Um, but all these new tools that are raising like every month, because everything is happening so fast, what it's enabled us is everything that we do on our day to day, we're able to optimize it through AI. Some things more and something less, but something, for example, that has worked amazingly well for us has been sales. Beforehand, sales was done by me and by other two team members that had a lot of relationships within the music industry, and we used to focus on closing partnerships, and that's it. Now sales is almost autonomous from our side. We just have something that is able of talking with the user in real time instead of waiting for a demo or waiting for it to close a meeting. So they're getting their any kind of question, doubts that the artist or the team may have, it's getting answered in real time. And also it's tailor made. It's tailor made in just the pitch for their specific needs. So they really get to know if for what they need, it's going to be solved by using our product or not. And then they can just complete the all the setup process straightforward. And that's literally by using AI, but not very complex. It's just automating the different things that we used to have. Like for example, for Q&A, for QA testing, that as we don't have a huge team, we used to spend a lot of time, all of us, every time we do a release, we used to have this release, we call demo session or release session, where we would see what's going to be new or what is the thing that we're going to release in the next day or next 2 days, and we start testing it and report the bugs or the fires to the engineers so they can fix it. All that process, for example, we're doing now. We're now doing those kind of sessions, but it's more demo sessions. That is for us to know what is going live, how it works, and to be able to properly talk about it and to give to close that feedback loop with the engineers and the product team. But right now, all that QA, we're automating it with AI too. So what we're seeing is a lot of small things that you spend a lot of time in your day to day doing it by yourself. That right now you can actually automate it. Like in my case, for example, my day to day, my organization of everything. Right now, I have a full CRM automated with my calendar that I was able to link it with my email, with my WhatsApp, with my calendar, and it's getting all the data points and all the info for any interaction that I had, and sending me the automatic reminders. Like right now, for example, we are a company that relies a lot on partnerships, and our partners are huge entities across the globe. So each entity has representatives in different geographies, and for us, it's very important to keep track of what's going on with each other. All that kind of intel that we receive on a day-to-day basis, and that help us and guides us where should we head to. It's gold for us. Something that we've released that has worked very well for us actually, but also ended up being a product feature for artists, was we developed this model where by tagging the Spotify ID of the artist, we were able to monitor across the internet what was going on around that specific artist in terms of has he released music or not, has a show or not, is selling merch or not, people are engaging around him, what are they talking about. And the idea of that model at the beginning was for us to know what was going on around the artists that we were kind of working with, so we could recommend them things and stuff to do with our tools. And it ended up being the first MVP actually of that fan community companion, because what we saw is like, okay, you're detecting what's going on around the life of the artist. If we give you their fan base data, you're gonna keep being able to give them amazing recommendation, and then being able to execute them. But that was the thought process. So something that we did just to save us time, because at the beginning, when it was like 20 artists, it was great, we could do it. But when it was 500 artists, there was no way that you can go every day and check what was going on the internet around 500 artists.
Yeah.
And now we have that on every 3 hours. We monitor what's going on about around any artist that works within our ecosystem, and it's a product feature that they have right now.
Wow, that is so amazing. And I love this show because we get to talk about like what people are doing with AI that I don't even think. The funny thing about AI is that you don't know what's possible until you hear about it, right? Until you start visioning it and really start thinking about what AI could do for you. So, there are founders and visionaries that are watching or listening to this. What kind of advice would you give them when maybe they're just now wanting to stretch past using ChatGPT and really start moving into AI to help them streamline their business and do a lot of the things that you're talking about now? What kind of advice would you give them?
To be completely honest, I'm not super techie, super savvy. I've been I've like literally jumping deep into AI for the last 8 months, I would say. And at the beginning was super chaotic because every day was something new. Now, for example, I'm very German in terms of like I like to have everything on my calendar. I'm being very like sequential on with everything I do. So what I do is like I think it's every 2 weeks I have like a 3 to 4 hours slot to review and maintain my AI stack to research for new things that are going on that I've been, as every day I see new things that I'm in meetings and I see something that is using another one, or it's able to solve by doing X, Y, or Z, or if I read something on LinkedIn or in social media or posts or blogs that I receive through email. I just note it, and every 2 weeks I spend time researching and seeing what could work for my different needs. And something that we've implemented across SES for everyone is like every time we need to do something new, if that can be automated, like find first the way of automating it. Test it. Obviously, if it's product wise, first is test it. If it works, then we automate it. But for our day-to-day work, if you need to spend 3 days like building something that is going to enable you to forget about that thing forever, that's what we want. Because what we want is to have the less people possible, but with maximum ownership, and that really aligns with what we're doing. And for that, we need to have people that are like superhumans, and that's what AI is enabling us to be now, like superhumans that you're able. I may be running like now 3 different things on parallel, and I'm the same person I was before. I just set it up some things that my email is getting checked. It's automating my CRM as we speak right now. It's getting info if I'm receiving WhatsApps, emails, or SMS to directly update that into the Intel 2. It's sending me what should I do with the 2.5 hours free slot that I have this afternoon, for example, in terms of recommendations, where to focus. So all those things that beforehand you used to waste a lot of your time, now what this is enabling you is to be way more productive. And for me, it's going little by little. You can, I mean, and it happens to me. This is funny. Yesterday I was in a meeting and with this guy, is super interesting, and he saw me a new agent that he built basically to manage the task of all his team, and I was literally like, I need that. I really need that. I want it now. And it's just basically like finding the time to explore all the options that are out there and how can you optimize it for your use case.
Yeah, I completely get you, especially because that's one of the things we help our clients with is that there are so many AI tools out there and they just keep coming up every single day. And so we don't want you to have to spend 2 or 3 hours every day, like, making sure that you're staying ahead on AI tools and what's possible. That's why we are your AI growth partners and can really help you to build out the systems that you need as opposed to utilizing tools. So I love this conversation. I love where you're going. And you've done a lot with AI, which is really, really exciting. But I have to ask you, like, if we could build out a custom AI agent that would take one job off of your plate or your team's plate right now, what would it be? What have you not built yet?
It's tough because for me it's more a matter of trust that not being able to do it. And it's automating all the communications that I have every day. Every day, I think within my CRM, I have between 30 to 52 engagement points. That's how I call it, like people that I need to reach out or that I need to answer. So if you're able to build something that actually goes to my through my email, my WhatsApps, everything every day, and really detects which ones to answer, which ones not, and what to answer properly within using my knowledge database based on the different projects that we work at, that would save me like an hour and a half every day, and that's gold for me.
Yeah, absolutely. And I can tell you that that is absolutely something that we can build. So I'm excited to talk more about that. But thank you so much for just being vulnerable and sharing that. So what's next for Sesh AI? Like, where is the big vision? What's your big milestone? What are you building to right now?
We're focusing on two things. At the end of the day, when you analyze SES, the concept is very simple. Is okay, artists, everything you do, just make sure that you capture all the fan data you can and on a proper way. And then with that fan data, we're capable of analyzing it and we're able to give you recommendations, which means that we need to give you the tools to be able to execute those recommendations. That can be from sending SMS, emails, fan pass alerts, that is like to fan passes safe on fans' wallets, send them like a direct push notification to those wallet cards. You have many different things. So we're always improving in those two parts. First one is how we give them the artists more tools for them to be able to capture more data, and how we give the artists more tools to be able to engage directly with their fans. And the part that is in the middle is the most important one. That is, how do you analyze that data, understand it, and give it on a way that the artist can drive results just by executing your recommendations.
Yeah, that is so exciting. I love what you're doing. And I think that there's a lot of people who are listening to this that are probably saying, I had no idea that that was even possible or that a platform like that exists. So definitely check out his website here, joinsesh.ai. But where else can people connect with you if they want to learn more about your services or just you, a person?
Yes, no, I mean, if it's regarding SES, like feel free to contact us through joinses.ai, or if it's like for any kind of ventures that you may have, or you just want to iterate, share feedback with other funders, like happy to grab a virtual coffee or something, and you can text me directly through LinkedIn.
I love it. That's awesome. And as you can tell, this guy is just amazing of what he's building, but also the person that he is. So I just really appreciate you being on the show, Pepe. And thank you for joining me today and sharing your vision of what's possible with creativity and AI colliding together. I mean, it's really, really neat to see what's possible there.
No, amazing. Thank you, Elise, for having me and for taking the time to build this. That it's amazing.
Absolutely. So, and to our listeners, thanks so much for joining into the Mastering AI Momentum show. And until next time, keep leading with vision and building with momentum. Thanks, everyone.
Bye. Thank you.
You've been listening to Mastering AI Momentum. If today's episode gave you clarity or sparked a breakthrough, share it, review it, leave us a comment, and show Ali and Elise how you're turning AI into ROI. And make sure you subscribe, because the next episode could be the strategy that unlocks your next level. Until then, build smart, scale fast, and let AI multiply your momentum.